The process of turning from a boy into a man is one of the most confusing things that young adults have to deal with. And in this video, I'm going to tell you some things that boys must learn how to do in order to turn into the man that they want to become. So, basically, I'm going to refer back to my journal here. I've been journaling for the last couple of days, and this has really helped me with the first thing that we're going to talk about, which is the ability for a man to be alone. Now, in modern day society, it's becoming increasingly hard to be alone as a young man or a young woman, even because of our dopamine-based society that spits dopamine at us whenever we use our phones, whenever we walk out our doors, whenever we use our TVs. Everything like that is all dopamine-based. And what is the least dopamine that you can receive is by doing nothing in your room. And that mindfulness that you will gain from being able to be alone and not rely on other people for your happiness is huge. Out of all the things on this list, this is definitely the one that I personally struggle with the most because it's just hard for me as I'm an extrovert. But I think the fact that I tell myself that I'm an extrovert is definitely a little bit of a coping mechanism for the fact that I've just never put in the time to be by myself and really see if I can just be alone. And obviously, don't close yourself off from society or anything like that. I would even argue that most of your day should be spent around others. Many might disagree with that, but I think that there needs to be a portion of your day in which you're staying to yourself and like either grinding on some deep work or even just doing nothing at all. And no, being alone in your room and playing on your phone does not count. Obviously, we are gravitated towards our phones, especially when we're by ourselves, because we don't have anyone to bounce our ideas off of. But it's super important to get these new ideas and to take stock of your mental state, and all that stuff is done when you are alone in your own environment and with your own thoughts. This can be very scary for a lot of people. I know people that are literally scared to be alone. They would rather be with someone that's toxic for them than be by themselves. And I think that's an important distinction to make. If you have a friend that is toxic, don't just hang around with them because they're willing to give you their time and to suck up yours. Just be by yourself, figure out what you're doing, and get a better stock of your emotions, and that'll teach you to be more stoic overall, which is what a young man needs to be. If everything is decided by emotion, everything is acting based on a thought that they had in the moment or whatnot, that's a recipe for disaster. We don't want that, so definitely learn to be alone. It will help you more than you know. So the second thing that all young men need to learn how to do is to be independent and be financially stable without the help of their parents. Obviously, this is a big thing in our lives and in like society. Everyone is raised to be a wage worker and go through college and all that. If you want to do something else besides that, that is fine as well. But you have to do something. How is a man supposed to be a man if he's constantly asking his parents for money and to buy him stuff and all that? And the other thing is, from my experience, you really only learn the value of money by working. I was very fortunate to have someone in my life that taught me at an early age how to be somewhat financially free. And he did this by teaching me how to resell sneakers and trade stocks and crypto. But what I realized is once that stuff all slowed down and I had to actually work a job, which was DoorDash for the time being, I started knowing the value of money way, way more. And I stopped spending on meaningless shoes and clothes and all that. And I actually started selling a bunch of my stuff in order to fill up my bank accounts, fill out my investing accounts, and overall just be able to buy whatever I needed. Obviously, if you're a young teenager, I don't expect you to be completely financially stable, but then again, I have a cousin who's 16 who makes like couple grand a month and he does great for himself. So there's definitely easy ways to make money. You just gotta do your research and you gotta be willing to put in work, have that motivation, and maybe for some people that materialistic goal is better. For me, I find that it never works because once I buy that thing, I don't even enjoy it all that much. Like this was the case with shoes back in the day. I would always keep reselling in order to eventually get that shoe that I wanted. I think it's a good beginner goal, but at the end of the day, you shouldn't be working to buy something. You should be working for the betterment of your future and just making money for your future self. So yeah, that is definitely a habit and a skill that every young man needs to learn how to do before he's able to transition from a boy into a man. The last thing that we're going to talk about today is that every man needs to learn how to talk to people. This can be talking to strangers, talking to friends. Overall, as we've already talked about on this channel before, life is sales. You're always selling something to someone, and everything around you is based on sales. So even if you're talking to someone, you're selling the image of your own self. Some people might not like that way of looking at it, but I think it's very liberating because as long as we admit what we're trying to do, we can probably do it more easily, right? So you have to learn how to like interact with people. It's so crucial, and social skills are something that so many people are lacking just overall, like because they just haven't put the time into it. So definitely like get out there more and interact with people. It's kind of like we're strengthening both sides, our introverted side and our extroverted side. So yeah, with that being said, those are the 3 things that I think are required for a boy to turn into a man. Obviously there are more extreme things like learning to fight and other things like that, but we're not going to touch on those right now. I have some stuff to do, so I'm going to end it off here. Thank you guys for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all soon.